The first episode of Hell's Paradise features an executioner who attempts but fails to behead a man with white hair. This white-haired man claims he has killed numerous people and cannot be killed himself. We later learned that his name is Gabamaru, and he had been trained as an assassin from a young age and become a shinobi for a Wagatur village. The woman speaking to him suggests he may have developed superhuman abilities due to the taxing and deadly training that most people do not survive. Gabamaru dismisses the idea that he needed to use ninjutsu to survive his execution, saying the executor was simply weak. When the woman asks him to display his ninjutsu skills, Gabamaru declines. The episode ends with some people attempting to set fire to Gabamaru. As Gabamaru awaits his execution at the stake, he tells the woman, confessing that he's not fighting death and would rather they kill him. He asks her for clothes, but she refuses, informing him that she needs to gather information from him first. During their conversation, Gabamaru reveals that his parents were killed by his village's chief and that he kills without purpose. He argues that his chief coerced his comrades to betray and frame him when he tried to leave the village, leading to his capture. The men try to execute Gabamaru using bulls, but fail. The woman questions Gabamaru and asks why he wanted to leave the village. He explains that he married the chief's daughter, who turned his life upside down with her benevolent nature. Unfortunately, he unknowingly fell into a trap leading to his capture. Later, Gabamaru is visited in his cell by Sadri, who is renowned for her skills as a sword tester and executioner. Sadri attempts to execute Gabamaru, but he manages to break free and defends himself. In a flashback, Gabamaru's wife tells him that he is in a hollow due to his indifference towards witnessing cruelty, but he argues he isn't. Gabamaru's wife tells him that he's a kind person and wishes they could live normal lives. She wanted to pursue this goal, but her father opposed her wishes and burned her face to make her give up. She kisses Gabamaru on the lips, showing that he's not an emotionless person. In the present, Gabamaru battles Sadri with swords, claiming that he is a heartless scoundrel who could never be human. We learn that Gabamaru wanted to leave his killing profession, so he and his wife could live a peaceful life together. He spoke with the chief about it, which led to his capture and everything that he experienced. Before Gabamaru can go for the final blow, Sadri shows him a pardon document from the shogun. She explains that he can clear his charges by competing in the Shinsenkyo, where he can retrieve the elixir of life, which grants immortality. Gabamaru's wife is still alive in Awagakura, and if he wants to reunite with her, he must retrieve the elixir by participating in the competition. Gabamaru demonstrates his ninjutsu skills to defeat Sadri's enemies and accept her offer. Sadri tells him they will travel to Edo first for unspecified reasons, and Gabamaru agrees to play along. The episode ends with Gabamaru saying he'll do whatever it takes to see his wife again. Sagiri reflects on a beheading she witnessed as a child of a storyteller who was sentenced to death. She made it her goal to replicate his stroke, which she later did when she executed a person at an older age. Sagiri had a delusion about the man she killed and was advised by a swordsman to overcome her doubt and fear to become a better swordsman. As they arrive near Edo to meet Tokugawa Nariyoshi and other condemned criminals, Sagiri wonders how to eliminate doubt and fear from her heart. Meanwhile, Gabimaru and the other criminals are blindfolded, and Sagiri uses the opportunity to research them. A man informs them about their mission to retrieve the elixir of life from Shinsenkyo and the reward they'll receive. Gabimaru's listlessness starts to worry Sagiri, who questions if he's calmer or eviler than before. The criminals continue to act arrogant until the man shows them what happened to a recent soldier who returned from an expedition. Some of the criminals express concern and are hesitant to complete their assigned task. They raise questions about the authenticity of the elixir, and some even attempt to flee. One of the criminals is promptly beheaded by the man who gave Sagiri advice at the beginning of the episode. They are informed that upon arrival at the Shinsenkyo, they will each be assigned a monitor who is a member of the Yamada Asiman. As they have all been sentenced to death, this rule remains applicable even during their travel. They are warned that any acts of violence on the island will result in immediate beheading without a trial. Furthermore, if their monitor is accidentally or intentionally killed, they will meet the same fate. They are unable to leave the island independently, as only a few individuals can be accommodated on the return boat. Under such circumstances, some must die on the island. The criminals engage in a fight, but their hands remain tied as per Nariyoshi's men's orders. As the fight ensues, Nariyoshi's men take note of those demonstrating supernatural abilities, but are bewildered that Gabimaru has not made a move yet. Aizen, Sagiri's ally, questions if she can handle the carnage and warns her that things will get more brutal when they arrive at Shinsenkyo. Aizen wonders if Sagiri will possess the courage to kill people, given that she will be exposed to harm in the same way as the criminals. Aizen expresses his belief that Sagiri is unsuited for the task and should instead participate in activities more suited to her feminine nature. Sagiri says she would have if she had the opportunity. In a flashback, it is revealed that Sagiri acknowledges the Yamada clan's benefit from people's deaths. She believes it is possible to ignore this fact, but such a path will follow you no matter where you go. While Sagiri is discussing with Aizen, one of the criminals attempts to attack her in hopes of stealing her sword. Despite her hesitation, Sagiri uses her blade to execute the criminals. However, the fear and doubt weigh heavily on her. Gabimaru approaches Nariyoshi and his men, objecting to the idea of killing criminals to ensure their participation in the trip. He urges them to consider alternative methods and points out that not all criminals chose their path. One of Nariyoshi's men offers a spot on the trip to a criminal in exchange for assassinating Gabimaru. Although Gabimaru does not wish to kill anyone, he insists that he has reasons to live and starts eliminating criminals. Everyone is amazed by Gabimaru's impressive skills, and Sagiri realizes what she needs to become a stable executioner. Nariyoshi's men call off the fight and select 10 criminals who will be attending the expedition. The episode concludes with Gabimaru, Sagiri, and the other criminals arriving at Shinsenkyo by boat. After that, we get right into an event in Iwadukuri village where the village leader is assaulted, disfigured, stabbed and injured, but by a miracle remains alive. Other shinobi, including Gabimaru, are taken aback and bemused by the incident. At present, Gabimaru and Sadri have reached an island by boat. Gabimaru is amazed and wonders if Sadri is still convinced of the island's actual existence. He tells Sadri that the elixir of life exists, but is uncertain if it can be found on the island. As they venture forward on the island, Gabimaru breaks free from his restraints, much to Sadri's annoyance. Gabimaru questions the need to bind him, while Sadri insists on it, and even warns him of the consequences if he violates the rules. This passage explores some critical themes such as power dynamics, survival, and how various characters adjust to violence and conflicts. It also raises hope and suspense by implying a potential disagreement between Gabimaru and Sadri, leaving me curious about how it may unfold. However, Gabimaru was reluctantly tied up by his captors. Suddenly, Twisted Kion, another condemned criminal, attacks him with a ball and chain weapon, hurling him away. Kisho, his monitor, stands beside him, looking unaffected. After Kion boasts about eliminating one criminal, Gabimaru gets up unfazed by the attack. We come to know about Kion's history as a warrior monk who fell in love with his weapons while training and has a reputation for killing other warriors to steal over 100 weapons. Gabimaru points out to Surgery that Keien's hands are not bound, and Surgery questions Kishu about it. Kishu accuses Surgery of being too rigid and not wanting to argue with criminals about trivial matters. Gabimaru urges the group not to waste time fighting, but Keion reveals his intention to eliminate other criminals, starting with Gabimaru. Keion is excited to test his weapons on him. This passage focuses on conflicts, power struggles, and varying character motivations. We witness individuals making accusations and anticipate a potential clash between Gabimaru and Keion. Meanwhile, Gabimaru has no option but to fight and becomes determined to kill Keion. Before the battle starts, Surgery reminds Gabimaru to bind his hands, but Keion assaults him with several weapons, which break on impact. Gabimaru lifts Keion into the air and impales him with a spear, but it gets blocked by the armor woven into Keion's body. Because of this, Gabimaru becomes serious, and the next scene shows Keion impaled by all of his weapons. Kisho comes forward to behead Keion, and walks away with the severed head, responding to Gabimaru's reaction. Kisho informs Gabimaru that they were neither allies nor enemies. He explains that other criminals are either decreasing their numbers or forming alliances before reaching the shore. In this section, Kisho communicates to Gabimaru and Sadri that retrieving the elixir of life is their primary objective, which takes precedence over following rules. This passage deftly elucidates the distinct and varied motivations and dynamics of the different characters. For instance, it highlights Gabimaru's relentless determination, Keion's protective nature, and Kisho's laser focus on achieving their main goal. Furthermore, it serves to underscore the themes of conflict resolution, power dynamics, and setting priorities amongst divergent goals. As Kisho delivers his message, tumultuous violence erupts around them, including attacks on the prisoners by their monitors or fellow inmates. These unpredictable events foreshadow the dramatic developments to come, something that Kisho hints at. The looming arrival of the Iwagakure shinobi and the probable selection of a new clan leader after the completion of their mission adds more weight and uncertainty to their already complex situation. While processing these revelations about her companion and their task, Surgery is suddenly ambushed by Gabimaru as they engage in a heated battle. A harrowing memory from Gabimaru's past offers a glimpse into his backstory, revealing the tragic loss of his parents at the hands of the village chief. The chief had preached about the weakness of familial ties or emotions, alleging that they make people vulnerable and ineffective in protecting others. Gabimaru's actions reflect his contradictory blend of ruthlessness and inner turmoil. In summary, this passage highlights the various personal, moral, and social conflicts that underlie the character's motivations and actions. It explores several themes such as the consequences of prioritization and the importance of mastering power dynamics in pursuit of any goal. Despite his hesitation to finish off Surgery, Gabimaru becomes conflicted as he reflects on his emotions that affect his duties. He blames himself for feeling hatred towards individuals who threaten his wife or sympathy towards potential targets with families, feeling that such emotions make him weak. Meanwhile, Surgery notices that Gabimaru is holding back, but she believes she must still be executed. Despite her struggles to defend herself, Gabimaru outmatches her in combat. She questions whether Gabimaru still has any emotions left, which only serves to anger him, as he disarms her and prepares to deal the final blow. Yet, he feels his wife holding him back, and Sadri also notices his inner turmoil, prompting her to offer emotional support to him. She reassures him that having emotions is not a sign of weakness, but a strength to be embraced. She also recognizes the importance of confronting her own emotions to become a stronger person. In a different part of the island, Gantetsusai and Fuchi encounter strange phenomena and creatures, including a butterfly with a human face and a stinger. Susai remembers the survivor covered in flowers and cuts off his hand, which is then immediately covered in flowers. They realize they are surrounded by strange creatures and giant figures. Meanwhile, Sadri and Gayamaru also face strange bugs and a giant fish-like creature, preparing themselves for a fierce fight. Comment for part 2, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and comment. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.